So we're going to look at what's called the maturity value and the formula relating to that. So the maturity value is the interest earned and the original principal. So we know we can find simple interest using the formula I equals PRT, and that will actually give us the interest. If we take that and we actually add the original principal, so what either we owed or what we let to be borrowed, then this is what we call the maturity value. It's basically just taking your principal and adding the interest component. So you can do these types of problems by finding interest and then adding it to the principal, but we might as well use an altered formula that will do that work for us. So maturity value, sometimes it's also called the accumulated value, is the total amount to be repaid. So principal combined with your interest. So the formula is as follows. So S is equal to P times, open a bracket, 1 plus RT. So we've seen most of these symbols already. So S is going to stand for maturity value. So the final at the end is principal plus interest. P is our original amount, our principal rate, R is rate of interest, again per annum, so we're showing it in a decimal format, and T is our time period. Remember, this must be expressed in years to utilize our formula. So let's do an example of using the maturity value formula. So here's our example. So a business deposited $10,000 in an account for 3 months. The account pays 8% per annum. How much will be in the account after 3 months, e.g. calculate the maturity value. So we want to know how much is in there after 3 months. So that would be our principal plus whatever interest we make in those 3 months. So our formula is maturity value is the principal multiplied by 1 plus rate times time. So what do we have given in the question? We have our P value, so they invest $10,000 to begin with. 1 is just going to be 1. R is our rate of interest per annum, so we have 8% per annum, which remember we should always change into a decimal to put into our formulas. And we have our T is time is 3 months. So remember we want to make sure that's in year format, so 3 months divided by 12 months in a year will give me our year format. You can do that as a fraction in lowest terms if you want to, or you can plug that in directly into the formula, which is what I'm going to do. So our principal is 10,000 multiplied by 1 plus our rate is 0.08 multiplied by our time frame in years, which we just created as a fraction, is 3/12, and close that big bracket. BEDMAS or order of operations says I should do the bracket first, so I'm going to do that. You can do it all in one go if you want to, but I'm going to do inside the bracket first, which means I need to do my multiply, then add it to 1. So I end up getting, when I do it as an intermediate step, 1.02 multiplied by 10,000, you end up getting $10,200 coming in. So that's what we call our maturity value. So really what's happening there, if you sort of think about it, we put in 10,000, or the business put in $10,000. Over 3 months it calculated some interest, so we're really seeing an interest of $200 there, right? So you can think of it, if you want to, you can think about your interest would be your maturity value minus your original principal. So if we do that, you can see that our interest coming out is going to be $200. So again, sort of thinking about where the numbers are coming from and how they can sort of mix together is an important piece. You can also do this calculation if you know what your maturity value is and you want to think about solving for principal. There is an altered version of this formula that you can actually utilize. That if you want to get P on its own, so principal on its own, you can take this whole bracket, bring it to the other side as a divide. So principal would equal to maturity value divided by 1 plus RT. And sometimes you're going to see this written in a different sort of way, and that this is actually given a negative exponent. So P is equal to S multiplied by 1 plus RT to the negative 1. So this negative 1 just means that it ends up being a division or on the bottom of a fraction. So this is the way that you're going to see it given on your resource sheet. So if you pull up your resource sheet for the financial math, in simple interest, we have our maturity value here, but we have our altered version for finding principal as well. So we can also do that if we're given those values on top of it.